not judging others and having compassion and grace for people, because you don't know their situation. You don't know what someone has been through. You don't know what someone is going through in that moment that you might walk past them. So just having compassion and grace for other people. I was dying inside. I mean, days I couldn't even get out of the bed. I was dying. And, you know, it was a 20-year relationship that was gone. And again, you think, okay, well, I'll just go to Jamaica, things will be so much better, you know, I'll be on the beach, it'll be good, I'll be good there. But who knew your emotions go with you? So as much traveling as I did, I'd still had the same, you know, struggle inside. But when I started doing the trips with Share the Love, when you do something for someone else that expects nothing in return from you, it takes you out of your own head. And that is really what helped, along with the camaraderie of the people in the group, the uplifting, the love they pour into you, but just being in that space where you see people that are just, I mean, struggling, like can't even imagine their stories, but living by dragging themselves anywhere they need to go, back to a hut with no floor and no running water and no electricity. It makes you put your own life in perspective, that whatever we are going through, you know, in any given day here is probably the best day they could ever hope for.
So Share the Love, we've talked about it a few times on this podcast with different guests, but a huge fan of that organization. We'll share a link on the podcast, but Jim Ingersoll was on this podcast and he shared that he was cleaning up boxes from the wheelchairs. And when he was packing them up and they were just going to go like find a place to throw them away, but a lot of the locals were running and grabbing the boxes, and he was just like, "What are you guys doing? Like, we need to throw these away." And he was like, "No, these would be great for our beds. Like these, we can make beds out of them."
I was on that trip with him. We were in Nicaragua. That was our first trip.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And that perspective that you get from that is like, sure, it doesn't diminish any challenges that you faced in life, but it definitely puts it in perspective.
It does.
What do you hope that your kids will learn when they hear your story?
That for themselves, regardless of any mistakes they may have made, that they can always shift and redefine themselves. Anything they experienced or mistakes they made, it does not define who they are. It's never too late to do different things. And just because you may be struggling now, this isn't your life, and it doesn't have to be. You know, real estate is such an open, even playing field. It doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter your education, it doesn't matter how much money you have. Those are all myths that you think of that prevent you from getting into real estate investing. But that's why I love real estate investing. It's open to anybody. But for my kids, I want them to, you know, it's easy to say, I don't care what people think about me, but I do. And it's always been a struggle for me of worrying about what people think of me. As I've gotten older, not as much of what people think of me as much as my kids. You know, I always want my kids to be proud of me. And if they learn anything from me, is I want them to pull on that resilience and that compassion, you know, not judging others and having compassion and grace for people, because you don't know their situation. You don't know what someone has been through. You don't know what someone is going through in that moment that you might walk past them. So just having compassion and grace for other people.
When I think about your story, I also think of like just the ability to make a decision and keep going. Like there are so many decisions that you made along your journey to keep pushing yourself forward and not giving up, which is insane. It's absolutely insane. Like, and I don't even know all the deal. I mean, I know what I've heard today, but like, again, going back to my brain just goes back to this. You breeze past, you spent one night in an abandoned car and you're pregnant and you're 17 years old. That is insane. Like, you tell any 17-year-old, much less pregnant, much less on the run, to go sleep in an abandoned car for one night. I could imagine the kind of waking up and kind of like just being unsure of where you are, how safe you are, just that one night out of your entire journey, what went through your head, and like the ability to give up, how many opportunities you had to quit. And then going on through your professional life of having felonies on your record, going through divorce, going through family health issues, owning your own business, and not quitting through that whole journey when there was just so many reasons to along the way. It's just incredible. And now you're successful in real estate. You're traveling. You have a great network around you of people that genuinely care about you and have that connection with them. It's awesome. I love like seeing it from the outside, like hearing the story and then seeing it from the outside, especially seeing you over the past few years and just who you're connected with and what you're doing. Is knowing the story behind it is just incredible.